Hey, FlyWire's at Old Warden Aerodrome, which is the Shuttleworth home of the Shuttleworth collection. It's a fantastic airfield, and we're going to take a little tour of all the airplanes they have here. And they're very particular about calling it a collection because the airplanes fly versus a museum where they don't. And I fully get it. I'd rather see airplanes fly. So stick with us on FlyWire. Hey, I'm Scott Perdue, and today on FlyWire, we're at Old Warden Airfield. This is the home of the Shuttleworth collection. There's a fantastic story, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And we got a tour today from Henry. He's one of the volunteers, and he spent a lifetime in 60 years, I think he said, being an aircraft engineer. We call that a mechanic in the U.S., but also doing restorations and running shops and stuff like that. He's done an incredible amount of stuff. He gave us a really good first-class tour of the place, and we're going to go take a quick look at some of the collection. It's just incredible airplanes, one-of-a-kind type stuff. And if you saw the movie, those magnificent men and their flying machines, not sure how much filming was done here, but perhaps some of it because some of the airplanes that were in the movie are right here, and we're going to see them. So let's take a tour. I won the coin toss, and Colin's going to let me fly the Stearman from Orchard House to Old Warden. And we're going to leave from the runway that Colin built here at Orchard House. And it seems like most of the grass runways, or most of the airports in England are grass. I mean, there's quite a few paved, but as I said earlier in a different video, most of these airports or airfields are privately owned, and grass is the cheapest thing to do there. So this one is actually, Colin carved it out of the farmers' fields, and one of the interesting things about this is quite a bit of the runway is peat, and peat is, it grows, or it happens, it's a kind of a soil that happens in wetlands, and this is the fens, known as the fens, and it floods. It's very low land, and typically floods, and water, and stagnant water, tends to slow vegetable decay. So peat is just a collection of vegetable matter that isn't really decayed yet. And the thing about peat is it doesn't compact like dirt, and it tends to move. So this is a bumpy runway. So as we do the takeoff roll, it's a little bit bumpy, but that's not a big deal for the Stearman. It just glides over it. And there's a launching point here in just a second where there's a pretty good hill, and then it's about the times to fly. So we're going to see that in just a second here. Just wonderful. Colin just reseeded the runway, so some grass is growing there. But off we're flying, and one of the cool things I want you to watch here is look at that. Look at this shadow. The sun, it's pretty early in the morning, so the sun's in the east, looking over our shoulder there. And I just love that outline of the Stearman and on that field. It's just incredible. Maybe I should have stayed low the whole time. I don't know. It's just, I think it's incredible. Beautiful. I didn't even see it when I was flying, just when I edited the video. And Colin was talking to RAF Lakenheath radar controllers because we're pretty close to their area. This is just by Ely, and Lakenheath and then Mildenhall are very close, and there's some airspace, I think a parachute operation or something there just to the right. That's why we're turning. But I'm going to do in a later video, talk about Sky Demon. It's a little like ForeFlight, but it's really tuned to flying in the UK, where airspace and NOTAMs and restrictions and all kinds of stuff are a huge issue. So Sky Demon does an amazing job of that. One of the things I love about flying in England is it's just beautiful here. And if for flying a light plane like this, single engine piston, there's all kinds of fields. You know, I mean, you're going to usually be able to find a field and without obstructions to put it down in. Here's Old Warden come up here on the right, and you can see that there's used to be, I think, another cross runway, but they use it as a taxiway now. And so we're lining up with the runway just in front of the broom handle there on the wing. That's the Old Warden Hangar, Shuttleworth hangars. The Shuttleworth Manor is right here. We're turning towards it, and the beautiful gardens. We didn't go to them this day, but entry here is as you fly overhead the field like this, and you turn on the opposite side, and then you turn crosswind, so you can turn downwind, and that's what we are finally right now, is we're turning downwind for the runway landing to the north. It's a right pattern, right traffic. Look at these fields. I mean, if you have an engine problem, there's all kinds of places to put them down. And these fields they've been farming them for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's all, everything kind of stays the same. You know, all these trees growing on property lines and things like that. It's just, I think it's beautiful. So here we are in the right turn. It's a 1,000-foot pattern. A little high for me. I like to do a steerman pattern at about 700 feet, so I'm going to do a big slip here in just a second to burn off that extra energy as I roll on towards the runway. And the runway is really cool. Here's the slip. And the runway is really cool, and they use white rock as markers to outline the edges of the runway, the thresholds of the runway. And this one actually has you have an extension to it, so a displaced threshold, so you don't land too early over these trees. So this is the edge and the displaced threshold, and you'll see here in just a second where the actual threshold is for 02, and off we land. So, and you can see the runway edge markers. Beautiful, extra smooth runway, smooth grass. Don't know what kind of grass it is, but it's almost ideal. Of course, it takes a lot of rain. Wouldn't work well in Texas because we don't rain that much. We don't get that much rain. But all right, so tail's coming down. I'm going to show another video or another view. That's the beauty of this 360 camera, is I can just switch it around, and it's just a fun landing. So I'm going to show you another video. There's just touched down, and I'm putting the tail down when it's ready to stop flying. And going to exit here on the taxiway. You can see just on the left wing are the Shuttleworth hangars where the museum collection is housed. That's where we're going to go here. Turning off to the left here, and we're going to point at the hangars. And let's see, I think there's 5 of them. Can't remember offhand. But what we're going to do is we're going to taxi by the control tower. It's not in operation all the time, but particularly on fly days or something like that, when it gets really busy, they have the announcers and people controlling traffic. They come in for the show. A lot of people drive in and a lot of people fly in. It's just a really cool place to come and see a show and demos with the airplanes from the Shuttleworth collection. There's the tower. It's kind of one of the temporary kind. We're going to taxi down by the cafe, which is right there at the end of this hangar row, and that's where the cafe is and the cashier and everything. And if you look, we're going to pass actually there's a fuel point where you can buy gas if you need to, and most airfields in England have a landing fee because they don't get any other money to help maintain the place, so that's what the fees are for. That round hangar just to the right, that's the restoration area, maintenance area for where they do all the work on these airplanes, and the craftsmanship is just incredible. The cafe is right there with the canopy through that break in the fence, and we're just going to park right here by Hangar 1. Fun flight. Beautiful day in England. All right, so we're going to jump into Hangar 1, and the first thing is a Bristol F2B, and then we're going to look at right next to it is a RAF SE-5A, and this one actually has a combat kill. These are the airplanes that the Brits gave to the U.S. Army Air Corps when they fought World War I. This is an Avro 504K. And it was in the movie Reach for the Sky, then the Sopwith Pup. This is the precursor to the Camel. And you can look at this radial engine. See, the prop is bolted to the case, and the whole engine rotates around the pistons. It's just fascinating. That's Henry, our guide. Tremendous guide. This is the R100 dirigible and a sleeping cot, I believe, for one of the crew. And this is an Avro Tudor, and it also was in the movie Reach for the Sky, built in 1931. Then we have a Hawker Demon, and it's from 1934, and it was actually from Afghan Air Force. This is a Gloucester Gladiator from 1938. I think it was the last one built. It's also the last RAF biplane fighter. You look at the pitch on that prop, that wood prop, fixed wood prop. It's just fascinating. Those are machine guns that fire along the fuselage, through the cowl, and through the prop. This is a Spitfire Mark V, and they've had for a long time. It's been in the Battle of Britain, the Pearl Harbor movies, and it's the same model as the Americans in 3 squadrons came over in the 4th Fighter Group to join the U.S. Army Air Forces in World War II with their Spits. And then this is a Westland Lysander, and it was the spy plane, basically, the spy taxi in World War II, flying at night into France. And it's just massive backcountry airplane, just huge, huge, and that huge fuel tank. And look at the wheel covers on this thing. There's a spotlight in it, and that orange painted dot is actually tape covering a machine gun. So you have machine guns in your wheel wells. Just incredible. And you got to climb way up there. This is the landing gear, huge, massive landing gear for this airplane. Just amazing. And then we have a Chipmunk. That's pretty much the standard pilot trainer from days gone by, and then a desolder 1. Then above here is this the World War I hangar, basically, or pre-war actually. These are Otto Lilienthal glider replicas up above there. They're just fascinating. Singles and single wings and twos, and trying to make like a bird. I was told what AAUP is, but I don't remember what it is, and my notes don't cover it, and I can't find it in the Shuttleworth book, so I apologize. I don't know what that is. This is the oldest airplane still flying in the world. It's a 1909 Blériot Type 11, and it was Richard Shuttleworth's first airplane. It uses wing warping from these cables here on the left to as roll control. So they still fly it on calm days, pretty much straight ahead and land and taxi back. They don't really do a whole lot of turns, and they don't go very high. This is a Bristol box kite, and it's a replica built for the movie The Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines. And what's really cool about that is look at these ailerons. They're streamlined by the air, and then only go in one direction. This is the pitch control in the front. This is the elevator that's in the front, and it still has a regular tail but no elevator in the back, but it has the rudders. So it's pretty cool. This is a Blackburn monoplane, and notice the skids in front. That's to try to prevent a nose over. Travel Air 4000 from the U.S. with big wheel covers, well fared in engine and everything. And here is a Bucher Jungmeister. And then I think that's in the back is a Travel Air Model R racing plane. Beautiful. This is a Dragon Rapide, and was the airliner that the Brits used right after World War II. And it's just kind of Art Deco and elliptical wings, very, very Spitfire reminiscent. And if you like to fly in one of these, you can go to the Duxford Museum, and you can still catch a ride in one. They do that all the time, even during the air show. So there's a look at the wings and the ailerons. It's just absolutely beautiful. This is the restoration shop. We got to go through that. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what the airplane type is that they're working on. But one of the things I find fascinating is this wing here and this wing bar structure. It's kind of a hexagonal tube design that are bolted together. And then the wing box is made out of 2 of these. Just fascinating stuff. The ribs bolted to that. So they're just basically restoring this airplane back to pristine flying condition. This is the World War I radial. You can see the engine, whole engine turning, and the pistons in it are being dragged up and down. Prop bolts to that. Really, really cool. That's the demo so you can see what's happening. Well, I hope you liked this tour of Old Warden and Shuttleworth collection. It was a lot of fun to come here. I actually came here a couple of times when I was stationed at RAF Lakenheath. Flew in some Stearmans and did the show. So it was just a lot of fun, and I never really had a chance to see what it was like at that point because it was a show, and you're busy doing that. So we got to tour today. Had a great time. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on FlyWire.